kind of finding someone for you and saying, hey, this person's really cute or smart or kind of like you. Do you want to marry them? Or want to go on a date? And you can say yes or no, and that's arranged marriage. But forced marriage is when someone says, you don't have any right to consent to this. We are deciding for you who, when, and how you will marry. And so this young woman wanted to create a piece about this, and so she developed with our illustrators. Each one of them worked with an illustrator, Soumya Singh, to develop their story, and with our whole team. And so she developed this beautiful story about a bird being in a cage and kind of contemplating leaving the nest, because she knew if she stayed in the nest, she would experience forced marriage. And just like I loved about it was there was one illustrative piece where she is talking to the mirror and she's practicing saying no to her family and all the different ways we say no.
Yeah.
No. And it's so evocative, that image. And also a piece below it speaks to how she's really sad about the idea of leaving and about hurting her mother and hurting her family and leaving behind people that she cares about, but at the same time saying, I have the right to be safe. And I think that's a lot of the stories in here, is that there's definitely, the book is really what we say is a book is a love letter to our communities. And that image really speaks to that, about the complexity of when violence happens by people we love. How do we heal from that, and also how do we challenge them about it?
Yeah, and one of the discussions that I really liked from the book was actually the introduction, which sends out individual letters to people who are in the lives of the storytellers, such as a letter to their father, their brother, their mother. And what really caught my eye and what I want to talk about is the individual letters sent out to the media. And I'd like to quote for our listeners the letter. To the media, we are listening. We hear you when you shape your story around the idea that there is something inherently wrong with our culture. We hear you when you wrap your racism in a cultural cloak. We hear you when you insinuate that we as South Asian women are asking for it because we are connected to our communities. Farah, can you elaborate on the concept of the South Asian community within the media? What stereotypical ways do you find South Asian women being represented in the media?
Oh, I think, we're seeing for a number of years, especially after the high-profile murders in Canada of South Asian young girls, so Aksa Parvez is one of them. We saw the media really kind of create this idea of we're constantly struggling with honoring what our family wants and what the West wants, as if there's this huge diversity between them. And sometimes there is different pieces, but it's not just this or that. There's a multiplicity in our communities. And also the idea that we are silent, that we are oppressed, that we can't love our cultures and family in our face if we want to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're told oftentimes that to be safe is to say, you cannot engage in religious or within faith communities or within cultural communities because they're all inherently patriarchal and wrong.
Yeah.
And I think what's important is to kind of separate the patriarchy from the faith and say, well, is this practice my religious practice, or is this a patriarchal practice that uses religion as a tool? And so really speaking to that. And I think also, there's obsession with the media really focusing on the salacious details of stories. So in stories where young women were killed or forced into marriage, really focusing on the idea that it must have been about their faith or because they were born into a South Asian community, not really understanding that violence happens in many, many, many communities.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, that's what's really important about this book, is that it's creating opportunities for young South Asian women not only to speak back to the media, but actually to shape the story of how violence occurs in a way that actually allows for all the pieces to come in. So I love, there's one other story called Desi Girl Diaries.
Yeah.
And I love that story. And it speaks to actually slut shaming. Yeah. And oftentimes in the media, when people talk about slut shaming, they talk about the idea of, if you wear a mini skirt, or if you dress a certain way, which is, a tank top. But this young woman talks about being shamed if she wears skinny jeans.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really powerful. Or in that same book, she talks about the pressures her mom experiences being a newcomer to Canada, and her mom being told that her parenting is not right because it is embedded in ideas that have come from her community and her ancestors,
mm-hmm.
which isn't true. And so I think a lot of our speaking back to the media is asking them to amplify the voices, listen to how we talk about our stories, and not always go to that salacious detail, but actually focus on, here are our voices.
Yeah. And this book was published 2 years ago, right?
Yes.
So what kind of response have you gotten from the readers so far?
We've gotten really beautiful responses. I think even, at first when we made it, it was kind of that, okay, we're just going to make this thing and then something will happen.
Yeah.
And just seeing the letters that have come in where people have said, this is a story, these stories resonate with me. I've been called a bad daughter. There's another story called Bad Daughter, where a lot of young women say, yep, I get called a bad daughter all the time. Mm-hmm. And actually within that story, which I love that community really resonates with people, is that it speaks to how it's not the parents calling the daughter a bad daughter, but it's community members calling the daughter a bad daughter, and then the parents feeling pressured to then persecute, punish, and police their daughters. And I really love that resonated. One of the most powerful feedbacks from myself is my own father. My father, when I first told him about the project, he said, Farah, you're going to make everybody think badly about the South Asian community. People already think so badly about us. What are you thinking? Yeah. And then when he saw it, I had a nap and I came back in the room and he's reading this book and he's like, this is beautiful. And this, everybody should read this book. Yeah. And so I think it's understanding that we really do love our communities, and this is not about airing dirty laundry, but this is having real talk and conversation in our community about something that's really important, which is violence. We don't want people policing our communities. We don't want to see our families criminalized, but we also don't want to see our bodies hurt and bruised or police persecuted, or punished. So it's really about how do we be accountable to each other.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful note to end it on. Is there something coming up next after the book? Do you have any plans, for any future comic books or anything else?
Well, we have two big plans. So we're actually taking this book got chosen by Tahiri Justice Center from the U.S. to actually go on a 6-city tour across the United States. So we launch on September 22nd in New York, which is amazing. Yeah. And they're going to get actually myself and two of the authors to go, Aruba and Katana, are going to be going on tour with us. And we created a theater piece from the book with the group, and we also created a video. About it. So that'll be coming out actually in the next couple of weeks, a video. And then the other piece that we're doing is we're thinking about two new comic books. One will be an intergenerational one where grandmothers, mothers, and daughters will actually making comic book stories about multi-generational lives around healing from violence and what does resiliency and resistance look like. And then the second one we want to do is we're actually looking at female genital cutting and female genital mutilation, and actually working with a group to create a comic book on that. So I think it's exciting to see the differences come up.
That sounds amazing. I'm really looking forward to learning more from that as well. Thank you so much for speaking with me, Farah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. And that does it for today's edition of News Now. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CHOY_News Now. Today's show will be archived and made available on our blog at www.choynews.wordpress.com, along with other pieces from producers here at News Now. If you have a story you think News Now needs to cover, email choynews@yorku.ca or call us at 416-736-2100, extension 33908. I'm Fakir Beg, and I'll be joining you again next week. Experience Creole is up next. This is CHOY 105.5 FM, your leading source for diversity.
Lunch Mix is your top destination for music and DJ styling on the dial.
Warning. Unauthorized use of hit music.
Your late lunch mix chef of the day is Ja Chosen.
Call me back.
Call me back every time. You not fear, so kind of smoke a full in my lungs. The front in my pocket just sponsor a quarter fi bonus, so you know sir, I know no quarter a run. From me take a jar it and fi blaze until it done. Watch me hide them quint up like me name and Mr. Chung. If I saw me blessed, fi go live another 1,000 years, me a go ice out till the next millennium. They want to know what kind of grade that I be smoking. Cause them a herb ya when me have a no joke thing. Me nah go take no coke, cause drugs me nah promote as split killer. Make me want to deal the next thing. They want to know what kind of grade that I be smoking. Cause them a herb ya when me have a no joke thing. High grade in a me head, we are the hottest. The high grade in a me brain, and me are the hottest. Real high grade me up. Say what? High grade in a me brain, me are the hottest. And high grade in a me brain, and me are the hottest. Real high grade me up on. Yes, the highest set a sitting from Amsterdam. Me package it, bring it from in a Westmoreland. High grade. It's a boss up me head. Ah yes, I me say for my man, bring it come. The California push me money to London. I grade. It's a boss up me head. One of this, hour this, grab this cannabis. Put it in a Buckingham Palace. In a Whistler or Chalice. Real like great, just a do talk and a this. Me mix up in a the coat, me no wanna whisk. That gambling paras, them and this push. Me never push them say light it up, blaze it up.
CHRY, representing over 20 different dialects, 37 countries and cultural flags, and 10 different languages. Soul.
I'm so in love with you.
Electronic. Take CHRY with you wherever you go across Southern Ontario on Rogers Digital Cable, Channel 945, Bell 5, Channel 973, or connect to various web and mobile streams, all available worldwide at CHRY.FM. FM.
La vie a difficile, faut prendre bagaille ou tranquille. Nous gen musique pour chill, nous pas besoin de pilule. Faut que nous pas trop pressés. Nous pas besoin de stresser.
Ce soir, on va faire la fête. Chill time, please.
Moi relax, c'est comme ça moi fait n'a besoin de compresser. Gade qui j'aime moi relax, fait ta fière m'a sué tellement bien glacé. Gade qui j'aime moi relax, a fait me relax, pas de problème que propose. Gade qui j'aime moi relax, m'a ton jazz la déposer. La vie a difficile, faut prendre bagaille tranquille. Nous gen musique pour chill, nous pas besoin de pilule. Faites la balle commencer, c'est ça moun yo t'a demandé. Fanatique rassemblé, vite maintenant les cap séparés. Nous dit levez, nous levez, nous levez, nous levez, nous levez, nous levez.
CHRY 105.5 FM, relaxing on the compa with the band T-Cab-Z here. Thursday night, Experience Creole, your voice of the French Creole Caribbean Islands, every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. Saying hello to our listeners locked in St. Catharines, our listeners locked in on tdnradio.net, and our listeners listening in from the Nature Isle. Thanks for being with us. Of course, DJ Toxic going to be in the studio tonight, as well as the Super L, giving you some Memoir Creole. Stay right here with us, because we're also going to debut a brand new Christmas song, so stay with us.
Allô Georges Bassi, ça qu'a fait, mais bon bagarre là. Gardez que j'en relax. Depuis jazz la matin, n'a point de charger. Qu'est belle femme tout côté, garçon pas campé. Gardez que je me relax, gardez que sont étoiles, mais c'est peine trop chier. Jazz ça son ecstasy. Gardez que je me relax. Depuis jazz la matin, besoin pas c'est ambiance n'a pas cherché, n'a pas gardé qui je me relax. Tout côté où passer, mon n'a bien végété là. Jorginho, transportez jazz à pour moi s'il vous plaît. Changement, mais oui, on va venir ça. Jazz a bien campé.
Feel the compa. There you go. That one, a hit song for the band T-Cab-Z out of Montreal, Canada. Well, we're going to go over to Martinique with the band Quack and give you a little Christmas medley, because it's really not that far away. We've just got a few more shows before the Christmas show. So, you know, we're going to get ourselves into the Christmas spirit.
C'est l'homme
massif, c'est le nous jatter au soir, c'est pour nous chanter cantique. Mon livre la page 24, il est né le divin enfant.
Il est né le divin enfant, jouer au roi des amènes musette. Il est né le divin enfant, chantons tous son avènement.
Depuis plus de 4000 ans, nous le promettaient les prophètes. Depuis plus de 4000 ans, nous attendions cette retour.
Il est né le divin enfant, jouer au roi des amènes musette. Il est né le divin enfant, chantons tous son avènement.
Ah, qu'il est beau, qu'il est charmant, ah, que ses grâces sont parfaites. Ah, qu'il est beau, qu'il est charmant, qu'il est doux ce divin enfant.
Il est né le divin